Yes, here we are. 7 years of wisdom. It is hard to believe that it has been 7 years. We've learned so much. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all that we've learned over the last 7 years, and we're updating it, of course, and got some brand new stuff even today. And they're going to be presenting it over the summer every couple of weeks or so. And so the first one we're calling is the 7 years of success, and giving you some of the keys to what we feel like are our success. And so you can see a picture of Terry and I, what we're look like when we're all dressed up, but I could not do a presentation without showing you, of course, what I look like when I'm working out on our deck here with my phone, and actually I do this all the time. And there's my famous slippers that I am wearing right now. In fact, that's pretty much what I look like right now when I'm working from home. So we love working from home, and we've got 5 acres here in the middle of a 700-acre reserve. Flowers, trees. You can see the beautiful Japanese maple in the background. Terry's been out there playing today. So, but this is what a lot of people look like when they're going to work, isn't it? Isn't this amazing? You know, just look at this picture. I mean, and I had this epiphany a couple of years ago. You know, we're cocooners. We like to work from home, and one day we were, going out on the freeway. We had a meeting, a XanGo meeting, actually about an hour and a half. So that's a lot of work, right? We had to get all dressed up, and we had to organize everything and leave early, and we went up and we had dinner, and then we're heading over to the meeting. It's around 5 o'clock. It's dark. It's windy. It's rainy, and we're like parked on a freeway. You know how it goes, traffic jams. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, these people are doing this every single day. and it's like, I just think this is better, don't you? Isn't that a better way to work? So anyway, where did it all get started? Actually, that's on what I call Deck 5, and of course we did all of this after XanGo, and waterfalls and decks and things like that. And I like to go down on Deck 5 there and take some 3-way calls. So how did it get started? Well, actually our career in networking started in 1983. We were in the real estate business. I don't know if there's anybody old enough to remember on the call here. Probably there's a few of us that interest rates were sky high in the early 80s, up to 20%, and we had made a lot of money, and we were in the process of losing it all back. We were heavily in debt, and we had a friend of ours. There he is. It's the only picture I could find of him. His name is Larry Shine, that we had known from the real estate industry, that had gotten into networking. Now, Larry never really been very successful at anything, and we kept hearing rumors about all of this money that he was making while we were struggling, just wondering if we could avoid bankruptcy and so on. And, he'd made several $100,000 and had this incredible success. And so we got involved. Larry took us under his wing, and actually we had quite a bit of success in our very first opportunity. And I just love this picture I happened to find on Google Images. Life is a beautiful struggle, because in many ways that's what it was like. Certainly financially, we went through a long period of struggle from that very first opportunity, trying to find something that would work. And, we had all kinds of problems and things that went wrong. And actually, we kind of reached a low point in 2001. Here's a picture of our famous truck. Yes, through many of those years, this was our primary method of transportation. As I like to say, its beauty was within, and it was. It was a beautiful truck. It would never let me down. It would never break down on the freeways. In fact, one time I drove home, pulled up in front of our house, and the brakes went out. I mean, that's the kind of truck it was, And I really don't want to talk about all the things we did from the back of that truck just to survive, but we paid $600 for this truck and put on 100,000 miles. But at this point in 2001, I really was fed up. We were facing more financial problems. Terry had some challenges with her health and things back, and we were like getting the double whammy here. And I just got fed up, and this is really where I see our whole life changed, at least from a business standpoint. I had this day where I was just sick and tired of living my life in lack. And it was like an epiphany, if you will. I recognized that most of my life, my daily life, was worrying about money and thinking about money and concerned about paying bills. And I wanted to have the experience of what it would be like to not have to worry about money every single day of my life. You know, honestly, it's kind of like a refrigerator running in the background. You know, you don't notice when it comes on and comes off because you're used to the sound. I think most people are hung up on survival, and I wanted to know what would be the quality of my consciousness, if you will, if I took away that concern about money. And this willful determination came over me that I was going to change this, and I was going to do whatever it took to make this change happen. And actually, it started to change. You know, we started to make progress because I was no longer willing to sit in a comfort zone, and I was no longer to give in to all of my fears, and I was willing to stretch myself. But there we were in June of 2003. Don't you love this picture? That's a picture of the rug getting pulled out from underneath your feet. And because we were just with this company a few months, starting to make some pretty significant income, what we thought was significant at the time, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 a month was significant income at that time. And suddenly we woke up one morning in June of 2003, and no one was answering the telephones in that company. And that was our primary income stream. Well, I mean, once the shock wears off, you just kind of sit around and wonder what to do next. And, in fact, that's what we did until we got this 13-page fax in June, later on, a couple weeks later, actually, first part of July, I believe it was, wondering what to do next. We got this 13-page fax out of the blue talking all about this XanGo company. You know, that's how we thought it was pronounced in the beginning. And, you know, I mean, they sent me an email. I was annoyed. You know, what's interesting about this story is I was so annoyed to get this fax out of the blue from somebody. You know, even by then, nobody was sending faxes anymore. And actually, the person wrote me an email. I kind of gave him a hard time. But I went online, and I started searching, and I came to the My Mangosteen website. And actually, Terry, you know, I can remember that day. It was like, I believe, a Saturday night. I called you into the office. We went online, and we watched a video just of Joe's story. You remember that?
Well, you know, I'll never forget that moment in time as we had our two chairs together in this very old computer watching Joe's story. And I turned to you and I said, "This is the one. This is it." And he looked at me and he says, "What?" And I said, "No, this is the one. Get me some of that juice. This is very powerful stuff. I want that juice." And, you know, Art went along for a few days. He had to, you know, do all of his own little research. He had to find out about the founders, the company. He had to do all kinds of things. And it's like, I'd say to him, "Did you get me that juice yet?" And he says, "No, I have to look for a sponsor. You know, we've made so many mistakes in the past that this time I'm really going to do a lot of research and find a proper sponsor." And so I finally got that juice, and I was just so excited about being able to try it, and it tastes so delicious. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so it just so happened that Joe Morton, the very person we saw on the video, eventually we signed up, okay? So, you know, yeah, eventually I figured out what to do, and after Terry kept harassing me for the juice, we signed up around the end of July of 2003. But it just so happened that Joe Morton happened to be coming into the Seattle area for an already scheduled meeting. And we went there with a few of our friends, Rod and Shannon Culp and Yvonne and Eva-Marie Sarda. And there was 5 of us there. And this is the Marriott Hotel in Seattle. In fact, you know, this is so cool because some of these pictures really bring back a lot of memories. We've been to a lot of meetings at the Marriott. But this first meeting, Joe was talking about this company and how he loved network marketing. And, you know, I realized that I'd lost some of my spark for it through all of the challenges that we'd had. But I asked him if he would spend some time with us after the meeting. And we went in, actually, this is where we went, right in this lounge here, kind of in here in this corner table over there. We sat there with him for about an hour and a half after the meeting and just asking him questions. First of all, in all the 20-plus years that we've been working from home at the time, I had never once sat down with the founder of a company in a casual conversation or even a personal conversation or even a top executive. And here we were the very first night. I was so impressed with that, Terry, and I know you really had a lot of fun that night as well.
Well, you know, there was Art asking all the hard questions, and Joe had put a whole new bottle of juice in the center of the table. We were on this round table. And I remember the little waitress gal, she brought all little glasses, and everybody had their nice little ounce, and I said, well, that's great, but I know that my body really needs this juice. And for some reason, and I didn't really realize, I kept pouring it in my glass, and I kept drinking it. Well, lo and behold, if as 45 minutes went by to maybe an hour, I had drank most of that bottle. There was only a quarter of the bottle left, you guys, and I said, Terry, why would you do that? Your body is so sensitive, like you know not to do stuff like this. And this little voice said to me, well, Joe's not going to take the rest of that bottle home. You might as well finish it. And that's what I did, you guys. I finished that bottle of juice. And Joe had asked me earlier, did I have some health challenges? And I said, yes, I have digestive issues in my stomach and what have you. Things that I've struggled for over years, always looking for natural things to help it. And he says, wow, your body's really going to be happy with you tomorrow. And I'll never forget when we hugged that night, I knew that this company had a heart, because there was Joe Morton, and he hugged me, and he said, Terry, I'm so glad that you had the courage to drink that bottle of juice, because your body's going to love you tomorrow. And I was just in awe over him. If any of you have all met Joe Morton, or all the founders for that matter, they have such a caring heart. And that was life-changing for Art and I. That night we were 1K. And it was truly an amazing time for me to see somebody that had such sincerity and was building a business.
Yeah. What I was thinking at the time, Terry, is, wow, this guy is amazing, and he's smart, he's dedicated, he's got this great vision, and he's one of 6 founders. That there's 5 others, and probably all of them are just like this guy, and any one of them could have launched their own company if they'd chosen. So, while I was dreaming about, getting out of debt and wondering what it would be like to not have to worry about money every day, and once we launched the business, Terry started her own dream. And this is a picture of her old computer screen here, Terry.
Well, Art, I'll never forget turning to you one Monday morning after we were we'd just come back from convention, and I said to you, you know what, I really want to make a change in our life, and for us to do that, I knew I was going to have to step out of my comfort zone. I was going to have to step out and step up. And I said, I really want to help you. Over the last 20-plus years, I did a great job being the mail lady, and that was wonderful. But I wanted to do something that really meant something, because I had a lot of passion for this product. And as you can see, that's my computer and my little desk back then, and I could have put a picture of my car and a picture of Phuket, Thailand. And I really wanted a car, you guys. I had not had my own car for 22 years. I mean, that's way too long for any female to not have your car. And so I really wanted that particular car because I love my flowers and plants, and I knew that I'd be able to, carry my flowers and plants in it. And Phuket, Thailand, I cannot tell you enough about that trip. That's the first trip that you go to with this company, as in they pay for everything. And when we went to Thailand, my main purpose was to go and see the children and be able to take an empty suitcase. And you can't imagine what it's like to give a child in an orphanage a doll or a ball, or I brought ribbon for their hair. I mean, that was so powerful because these little girls had pink and colorful ribbons in their hair. They had their own pencils. Some people brought pencils. And I remember Marlene Belingic, she brought lollipops. I mean, that was so exciting for her to be able to do that. These kids had never had a lollipop. Little did they know to take the paper off before they ate the lollipop. So that was a life-changing experience for me, for sure, and my dream come true.
Yeah, her dream definitely come true. I'll show you a little picture of Thailand later. But in our next pivotal moment in our journey here with XanGo was in November 2003. We went to our very first convention as 5K distributors, right? And, kind of sitting in the back. There was about 1,200 people there at that particular time. And we were sitting there looking around and feeling the energy, and I just had this feeling this is going to be huge. And there were 17 of us came to that very first convention on our team. And I'd like to thank all of those people because we came away from it with such a level of certainty. It really helped propel us. But there was a thing that happened during this, Terry, and it was just amazing. Lance and Janine Schiffman, that's them on the right. They're actually in our upline, and they just hit 200K already, and we were 5Ks, and we were sitting in the back, and we were looking at them on the stage, and something happened, you know. During that event, we looked at each other, and what did we say?